Hello my students, welcome to my YouTube channel Exercise Therapy. In my previous video, I have discussed about subjective assessment of physical therapy. In today's video, I am going to discuss about another part of physiotherapy assessment, that is objective assessment. You know that complete physical therapy assessment requires patient's history, which is the part of subjective assessment, and we have already discussed it. Then observation, palpation, examination of movement, reflexes and cutaneous distribution, examination of joint play movement, performing special tests to confirm the diagnosis, and last thing is diagnostic imaging. Except history part, all the points from observation to diagnostic imaging included in objective assessment. Again, we know that the most common assessment method used in physical therapy is SOAP notes, where the S is subjective, O that is for objective, A stands for assessment part, and P that is a plan of treatment. The subjective part of the SOAP note is about what the patient is experiencing, what patient tells you about his or her problems, and feeling of his or her discomfort. This subjective assessment includes chief complaint of the patient, history of present, past and family illness, the review of symptoms, current medication or other treatment including surgery, hospitalization or physical therapy management which should be relevant to the present condition, and any other associated diseases and allergies. Now we will discuss in detail about objective assessment of physical therapy. Objective assessment refers to as a data that the physical therapist collects and measures from the patient. Objective assessment data, they are measurable and observable information by the therapist. The whole objective assessment mainly includes the examination of vital signs, that is measurement of blood pressure, heart rate and respiratory rates, then whole physical therapy examination, then review of laboratory data and imaging data like X-ray, MRI and CT scan, the other diagnosis data like special test and other functional scales, and the review of documentation of other clinician data and reports. Now, after vital signs, the whole physical examination include the data which is collected on observation, then data which is collected on palpation, and data which is collected on examination. We will see all three parts now step by step. The first one is on observation data. In assessment part, observation is the looking or the inspection phase. The main purpose of the observation is to gain information on any defects or deformity which is visible. It mainly includes observation of posture of the patient or an attitude of the limb. It should be done in normal standing position. Then the observation of gait of the patient, that is how patient is walking. It should be done when patient enters the department area. Any deviation from normal walking should be noted. For example, absence of heel strike or walking with limping. Then presence of any obvious deformity, for example, flexion deformity or malalignment like genu varum or genu valgum. Any alteration in the shape of the bone because of fracture also should be noted. Then the presence of any swelling or edema. Is there any swelling or redness is there or not? This sign may indicate any inflammatory conditions. Then comes the observation of skin color and texture. Bruising of skin may indicate bleeding under the skin because of any injuries, or cyanosis or bluishing color of the skin is an indication of poor blood perfusion. The last thing to be observed is presence of any external appliances. For example, if patient is wearing any supportive corset, for example neck collar or tennis elbow belt, or is the patient walking with the help of walker or cane. Now, on palpation examination, it is again an important assessment technique and must be practiced if it is to be used effectively. It is touching the part and fault within the tissue has been identified. The first thing it includes is discrimination between the tissue tension. For example, differentiation between the effusion and spasm, or the differentiation between spasticity, rigidity and flaccidity. Then comes the palpation of tenderness. It is determined by applying the firm pressure over the muscle or the joint. It also includes the feeling of variation in the temperature, and it is done best by using the back of the therapist's hand and the fingers and comparing on both the sides. Warm joint may indicate infectious joint or the blood swelling. Then palpation of the presence of scar and the spasm. The palpation of scar to be done to find out whether the scar is mobile or not. In palpation procedure, the therapist must work slowly and carefully, then applying light pressure initially and working in a deeper pressure of the palpation. Then comes the examination part. The examination is used to confirm or refute the suspected diagnosis, which is based on the history, observation and palpation. For examination, always bilateral movement is tested and the normal side is tested first for comparison. The first one is examination of active and passive range of motion, where the both range of motion is measured using universal goniometer. Along with the measurement of range of motion, the presence of pain or any other symptoms and the quality of pain, the restriction of range of motion, the pattern of movement, then the movement of associated joints and the presence of any abnormal anfill should be noted during the movement. Then the measurement of muscle strength. This is done using the manual muscle technique, and it is done to determine whether the contractile tissue is at fault or not, or is there any weakness present in the muscle or not. Then comes the girth measurement. So this girth and the circumference is measured at the standard anatomical site around the body, and it is measured with the use of tape and can be used to determine the body size and composition. For example, presence of any muscle atrophy or hypertrophy. Then comes the measurement of limb length discrepancy. It is performed to find out any structural or non-structural lengthening or shortening of the limb. Then the next one is functional evaluation. It also plays an important role in the evaluation of the patient. It mainly involves task analysis, observation of the patient's activity, or a detailed evaluation of the effect of the injury or disability on patient's ability to function in everyday life. Then it includes the examination of reflexes and cutaneous distribution, which involves the test of superficial and deep tendon reflexes and pathological reflexes. Then the last one is performing special tests. They are to determine whether a particular type of disease, condition or injury is present or not. They are also called as a provocative test. They are strongly suggestive of a particular disease or a condition when they are positive. The examination part also includes the pain examination, in which the information related to which type of pain it is, the location and duration of the pain, since how long the pain is present, whether the pain is constant or intermittent, all should be documented. Then the intensity of pain measured using the different scales available, for example visual analog scale or numerical pain rating scales, that is VAS and NPRS. Then the frequency of pain also measured, and the factors which aggravate the pain and relieve the pain also should be noted. After subjective and objective data collected, under the assessment part, the physical therapist interprets and identifies the factors that are not within the normal limit for the people in the same age. And in the last, the goals and the plan of treatment is framed according to the patient's problem list. These are the references for more detailed physical therapy assessment. Student, if this video was helpful to you, like, share and subscribe if you have not still subscribed my channel. Thank you for watching this video.